How well do you know your ideal client? I don't just mean like, who's your favorite person to work with or who's somebody that buys from you a lot. I mean, when you are dreaming up the perfect person to come and purchase from your business, the new customers that you're looking to get, who are they? Do you know them really well? If you followed anything that I've created, you'll know that I love talking about an ideal customer because you need clarity in who you're trying to sell to in order to do a good job of selling it. That's why I use archetypes in my brand. Now, there's a million different ways that you could use an archetype, but my favorite are to create an archetype for who your brand is and an archetype for who your customer or customers are. So, what is an archetype? An archetype is a universal character or situation that transcends time, place, culture, gender. Now, that definition comes from John Howard Spink, and I think it puts it together perfectly of what exactly an archetype is. It's the eternal truth. It's the essence of your ideal client. And that's why we use archetypes. We want to know your client inside and out. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are they thinking about? What are they like? What is important to them? So that you can create content that's going to serve them well and allow them to connect with you so that you can build a lifelong relationship together. So, what are the main archetypes? Well, I'll tell you that there are a lot out there. There are, probably at least 100 archetypes that you could choose from. But there are 12 main archetypes that are often referenced. These are the caregiver, the everyman, the creator, the explorer, the hero, the innocent, the jester, the lover, the magician, the rebel, the sage, and the ruler or the sovereign. Okay, so we've got 12 archetypes. Any one of these could be your ideal customer. So how do we get to know them? Well, there's a million resources out there, including some on my blog or on the ever famous Google, that will tell you deep dive explanations of what each of these archetypes is like. But let's pull back and just give you some examples so you can kind of get the feel of what the archetypes are like. So some brands that are well-known brands that fit these archetypes are Tom Shoes as the caregiver. They're doing everything they can to give back. They're taking care of others. That's their brand. The everyman, Target. The creator, who else but Apple? The explorer would be brands like Patagonia and the North Face. The hero, Nike. The innocent, Dove. The jester, M&M's, or my personal favorite, Geico. The lover, Chanel. The magician, Disney. The rebel or the outlaw, Harley Davidson. The sage, Google. And the ruler, Rolex. As you connect the dots between the archetypes and brands that you already know, you already have a feeling of what these archetypes are like. So just knowing these 12 main archetypes, was there one that just came up for you? It just hit you really head on, and you know that either that's your brand or that's your client. And they could be the same, and in most cases, they're not. So let me give you another example. In my brand, I, as the brand, am a creator. I love coming up with new ideas. I want to make a difference in the world. I want to stand out. Those are all parts of the creator. And then my clients, well, there are a couple of different archetypes. I always thought that all of my archetypes were the explorer because I love the outdoors. I love talking about nature. I love using examples of that in your brand strategy and connecting people to that. And I love brands who have a passion for sustainability and the great outdoors. But that's not who my client is. Now, that's not 100% true because one of my clients is the explorer, and that's my commercial lifestyle photography client. Those people are more often than not the explorers. They want to showcase their products in the great outdoors, which is where I primarily shoot. So that's a fit. However, for brand strategy, it's not necessarily the same fit. For brand strategy, it's actually something way different. It's somebody who is intuitive, somebody who wants to connect with others and make a difference in the world. They know who they are, they feel connected to this world, and they want to create magic. If you couldn't guess it, my ideal client archetype for brand strategy is the magician. So if you have different types of clients, different types of customers, then you might have more than one archetype. It's usually associated with each product or service that you have. Now, given you don't want a million archetypes because it becomes too hard to talk to them. So I would say absolutely no more than 3, but the closer you can get to one archetype, the easier it's going to be when you're creating content. So now that we know the individual archetypes and we know that we want to use it for our brand, let's get to the how. How you use this for your brand is in a couple of different ways. The first is that using archetypes is going to create clarity for you. It's going to allow you to get really clear on the type of content you need to be creating, the copy that you need to be using to speak to your customer, and to really know what their needs and wants are so that you can speak to their pain points, help serve them to solve those pain points, and create a connection with them that will last a lifetime. The other thing that archetypes are going to do for you is create consistency. Clarity and consistency are 2 of my favorite words, so it makes sense that they fit in with archetypes. Consistency is going to show up throughout all of your marketing materials. Now that you know what their pain points are, their strengths, their weaknesses, who they are to the core, you can speak to those things consistently. From your copy to your photos to any other things that you're doing in your marketing, you'll be able to create a consistent marketing strategy on all of your marketing platforms. So from here, this is where you want to go. Once you discover who the archetypes are of your ideal client, you want to get into the nitty-gritty. Define all of their strengths. Define all of their weaknesses. What is the mood or style that fits with them? What motivation do they have? And then if you want to take it even a step further past archetypes, you can then look into personalities of your client. For me, I love the Enneagram. I am a huge Enneagram fanatic, but there are other ones like Myers-Briggs. Whatever connects with you, start to dive in a little bit deeper to those personalities and say, well, what on the Enneagram is my ideal customer? That's only going to give you more clarity on what their strengths and weaknesses are and how you should be speaking to them. By understanding who the archetype is of your ideal client, by really getting to know the ideal client that you want to bring into your brand, not even necessarily the ones that are currently with your brand, but who you're looking to start serving. By getting clear on this, you can start building content that will connect. And that's all that we're doing in marketing. Whether it's advertising, blog posting, social media posts, our website, any of it, we're creating content that's going to connect with our audience so that they know that we can serve them. Because after all, that's all we want to do at the end of the day. We want to make people's lives better. Where do you go from here? My suggestion is to write out the 12 main archetypes that we just talked about and see if one stands out for you. Do a little research into it. Make sure it's the right fit, that it does describe your ideal client, and then get to work. Figure out those strengths, weaknesses, their mood and style, and what motivates them. Build out a profile, and then create content that serves them.